Right, so carrying on with the Bascinet build, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some planishing from the inside to work out these dents. Now, obviously that's going to smooth it out. Now the whole idea as well is that this should work harden the steel to some degree. Now don't get me wrong, this is mild steel. Mild steel cannot be hardened. There's, you know, the special quench media that you can use and everything like that, but there's no science that says it'll work. There's just not enough carbon in mild steel to harden it. Work hardening, you might maybe get a slight hardening of the steel, but I don't have any information on how much you can actually harden it. That's why it's best to go for a thicker steel for the helmet. This 2.5 will work just good enough. So I'm going to carry on hammering it with my nice big sledge. This is obviously parts that I don't enjoy. This is a lot of work and it gets quite tiring with this hammer, but this hammer, this thick steel, just works so much better. So I'm going to carry on doing that just to smooth this one out, then I'll move over to the other one and then we'll carry on from there. There we go. So now I've got it nice and smooth. The benefit of also doing it when you first planish this side here is that you help with the curve quite a bit and you refine your curve quite nicely, which is very good. It really does refine your curve very nicely. You can see, I don't know if you can see that very well there. I've got a nice curve going. So that definitely does help on this side. And yeah, so I'm chuffed with that. Then we're going to do a bit of planishing on the outside. The planishing in that really is one of the chores I hate the most, probably even more so than polishing. But it's part of the work, so and my power hammer is not working yet, can't finish that up. But yeah, one thing, especially using a big one like this, it obviously wears your hand out quite a bit. It's tiresome, it's a heavy hammer. Doesn't seem like it's too heavy, 2 pounds, but continuous hammering like that does wear it out. So the idea is, when you hammer it, you don't want to have to be lifting all the weight up by itself. So, and there's a lot of repetitive motions like this. So what you want to do is you want to use it where you use some of the bounce back to help lift the hammer up. Now this isn't a great anvil, so the bounce back isn't amazing. But yeah, that's what you want. You want to use some of the bounce back just to bring it up a little bit. The benefit of a heavier hammer is that you don't have to lift it up as high. So with the bounce back, I just slightly lift it a bit higher than the bounce back itself and I can bring it back. That's one way to try and not let it wear you out as quickly. And bringing it down, use a lot of the weight to bring it down. Don't resist the weight coming down. So just let the weight of the hammer bring the hammer down. That's good enough for this. You can add a bit of force behind it, but it's not really necessary. So you can just let the weight bring it down, add a little bit of force, and that should do it for you, especially with a heavier hammer. Lighter hammer, you have to obviously bring a bit. So I don't know, it probably works out better if you use lighter hammer. Right, let's move over to some planishing. So again, I know I've explained planishing, flat hammer over a rounded surface, so we smooth out all the dents on the outside. Like I said before, this is a very tedious task to do. I'm using my power hammer stand that's not working because it actually works very well on this part here. So I'm just going to use it manually for now. Right. So let's get started. And there we go, nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. So smooth. Right, so coming up to the next step of the Bascinet bolt is I've got the parts nice and flush. You can see that's exactly how I showed you. When you do it like that and you run your poker on the floor, then you'll get it nice and flat. So now it becomes the tricky part, is even when you cut it, you need to obviously grind it with one of these so you can get this fit nicely. So this is the tricky part. This takes a bit of finesse so you can get these two parts to fit up very nicely. So you don't want that many gaps. If you don't want big gaps anyway, you want as small gaps as possible. You need to make sure they line up as good as you can get. You'll see the next step will help with that. So once you've got that, you need to delicately try and hold them together. This way we can just check. Get one of those in there. Particularly difficult when you're doing it by yourself. Put it there, clip one in there, bring one across, bring it there, and clip one over here. There we go, nice and tight. So you can see now that seam is quite decent. Obviously there is still some gaps in there. You can see some gaps through there that you want to seal up. Those are already too big for my liking. So now we've got the, let's see if I can focus. There we go. Now you've got the decent shape of a bassinet going. Right. So now just to refine these curves here, and then we'll move on to the next step. So just a little bit of refining, go over to the anvil, put it on your stake, and we can try and refine those 2 points together.